Hello student. In the last video, we have already discussed study of different types of logical families. In that case, we have studied there are two types of logical families basically. One is called TTL, second is called CMOS. Then we already categorize different types of TTL and different types of CMOS. Okay. So saturated logic family, non-saturated logic family. Then we already defined the voltage level of TTL and CMOS. Then fan in, fan out, voltage parameter, current parameter, all these parameters we already defined. So in this video, we will define or discuss the remaining parameters of the TTL and CMOS logic family. Along with this, we have defined or discussed the how to design a two-input TTL NAND gates. Okay. So another parameter comes to the picture, or another characteristics of TTL digital ICs is nothing but the noise. So basically noise is nothing but the unwanted parameter that is obtained during the operation of the particular circuits. So noise immunity refers to the circuit ability to tolerate the noise without changing the output voltage. That means normally if you are going to observe, when you are going to perform some practicals on the digital boards, digital training boards or training kits, so you are applying many parameters. One is nothing but you are applying some patch cords, that is called, I will call the connecting wires. So every connecting wires is own noise. That will be get added during the operation of the particular combinational as well as the sequential circuits. So that can be able to produce some noise, and due to that case, so output voltage will be get fluctuate up to some extent. So no system can be able to minimize or reduce the noise is equal to zero. Okay. So quantitative measurement of the such noise is called as a noise margin. So quantitative measurement is called as a noise margin. So again, that again depends upon the different voltage level and the different current level. So this VOL max, VOH minimum that we already defined. So this is nothing but the VIL max, this is VIH minimum. So this is logic 0, logic 1. This is the indeterminate conditions or range. And this is for your output voltage range, this is logic 0, logic 1. These all parameters we already defined in the previous video. Okay, so high state noise margin, that is nothing but the VNH. High state noise margin is equal to VOH minimum minus VIH minimum. Apart from that case, we already defined the typical values of VOH minimum, VIH minimum in case of TTL. So this is 2.4 minus 2 is equal to 0.4 volts, is nothing but the high state noise margin, which is represented by VNH, that is called 0.4 volts. Okay. Which is called low state noise margin, that is called VNL, is equal to VIL max minus VOL max. So in this case, if you are going to put the typical values, you can able to obtain the value of your VNL, that is called a low state noise margin. Okay. So if the noise in the circuit is high enough it can push the logic 0 up or drop the logic 1 down into the intermediate state or the illegal state. Okay. So basically this noise margin or the noise should be as low as possible. Ideally it should be 0, but no system can be able to produce a noise is equal to 0. So every system or every combinational logic or sequential circuit consists of some noise in terms of voltage fluctuation. So magnitude of the voltage required to reach this level is nothing but the noise margin. Okay. So noise margin for the logic circuit is high. That is called high logic noise margin is equal to VOH minimum minus VIH minimum. So this is nothing but the VOL max, VIL max. This is called VIH minimum, and this is called VOH minimum. So as I said earlier, that means there are two types of ICs. One is called TTL, second is called CMOS. So I will call standard TTL and standard CMOS. So standard TTL series is always represented by 7-4 series. Otherwise, I will call 5-4 series. And what is significance of your standard TTL 7-4 series or 5-4 series? Okay. So 7-4 series is always called a standard TTL. So standard TTL series is always represented by 7-4 series. Operating temperature of the standard TTL. Standard TTL means only 7400. Okay. So operating temperature is always vary from 0 to 70 degrees, 70 degrees Celsius with the operating voltage from 4.75 to 5.25 volts. So this is the operating voltage of the particular 7-4 series. It is used for combinational logic circuits, that is 7-4 series. 5-4 series is operated at minus 55 to 155 degrees Celsius with the operating voltage from 4.5 volt to the 5.5 volts. Okay, so 7-4 series and 5-4 series, these are the two different types of standard TTL that can be able to apply for different types of applications. Okay, so 5-4 series is basically applicable for the military application, while the 7-4 series is applicable for your general purpose application or education purpose they are going to discuss, or industry purpose. But this 5-4 series is used for the military application. Current sourcing and current sinking. So this current sinking and the current sourcing plays very important role in case of your when you are going to make the cascading or the loading factor. Okay, so current sinking and current sourcing. So basically this is called a driving gate and this is called a loading gates. So this loading gate will be receive the current or particular source the current from the driving gate. That means as per this NAND gate property, when both the inputs are 0 0, at that case it can be produced output voltage high. As the output voltage high means it can be able to produce a maximum current. Okay, and that maximum current will source the particular load current, load gate, and that concept is nothing but a current sourcing. Driving gate supplies the source current to the load gate in a high state. That is nothing but a current sourcing. And this current sourcing and the current sinking are applicable when you are going to make the cascading of different gates in a cascading way. So when the output of the gate is high, it supplies a current IIH. That means this is the current IIH when the maximum voltage you can able to produce at the output of the gate at the input of gate 2, which acts essentially as a resistance to the ground. The output of the gate is acting as a source of the current of the gate 2 as the inputs. That's why it's called the current sourcing. Same thing in the reverse case, that is called current sinking. Okay, so again, this is called a driving gate and this is called the loading gate, but it is current sinking performs total reverse operation as compared to current sourcing. So in this case, when both the inputs are 1 1, so output will be 0 because as per the property of a NAND gate, and this NAND gate will be seeing the current from the load gate. That means this is VCC, so that it can able to act as a sink the current to the particular input of the driving gate. So input circuit of the gate to represent as a resistance tied to the VCC, to the positive terminal of the power supply. When gate 1, that means this gate 1, output low, current will flow from the input circuit to the gate 2 back through the output resistance of gate 1 to the particular ground condition. Current output that drives the input of gate 2 must be able to sink a current that is called IIL coming from the inputs. So this is nothing but a current sinking and the current sourcing property. These two properties plays very important role when I'm going to find the number of gates in a cascading way. Okay. So this is called current sourcing and current sinking property. Power dissipation. So what is exactly meaning of your power dissipation? So when you are going to, after making the connection, suppose I want to verify the truth table of your two input AND gate. So what I will do, I will make the connections, I will make the power on. I will apply some connection that I will connect pin number 7 to ground, pin number 14 to VCC, pin number 1 and 2, I will apply the two SPDT switches, and the output Y, that is pin number 3, I will verify on the particular LED. So when I'm making system of connections on the particular combinational or sequential circuit, some as you are going to apply make the power on, some current start to flow. So ultimately it dissipates some power, and power is equal to I square R. Okay. So basically, there are two types of power. One is static power, second is called dynamic power. So whatever the current flowing in the particular circuit, that is defined by using the I square R, that is nothing but the power loss due to the positive components, no input signal. In case of dynamic power dissipation, that is called I square R losses due to the charging and the discharging of the particular capacitors to the particular resistor due to the input signal. So normally, in case of CMOS, the power dissipation is very less as compared to the TTL, because in case of your MOSFET, that is called CMOS, the transistor is nothing but the MOSFET. This is very important parameter or very important characteristics of any type of digital circuits or digital ICs. That is called speed powered product. That is called SPP. Otherwise, it is another name and a very important name that is called a figure of merit. So this figure of merit plays very important role to obtain the any characteristics of digital ICs. So speed that is called the propagation delay and the power consumption are the two important performance parameters of the digital ICs. Normally, whenever I want to design any combinational or the sequential logic circuits by using logical gate or different types of ICs or any type of other requirement, there are two important parameters come to the picture. One is nothing but the power dissipation and second one is nothing but the speed of operation. How fast this circuit will produce the output and how much minimum power it can be able to consume. So these are the two very important parameters of combinational and the sequential logic circuit to design or to construct. A simple means for measuring and comparing over the performance of IC family is the speed power product. Otherwise, it is called figure of merit. Okay. So basically, for example, any digital IC has an average propagation delay of 10 nanoseconds. Then average power dissipation is equal to 5 milliwatts. So speed power product is nothing but it is a product of propagation delay and the power dissipation. So in this case, you are getting 50 picojoules. That is called is the figure of merit. Okay. Normally, figure of merit is the product of propagation delay and the power dissipation. And this figure of merit should be always constant because the propagation delay time and the power dissipation are inversely proportional to each other. Meaning that if one parameter goes on increase, the second parameter start to decrease. So figure of merit should be always constant, and the ideal value of figure of merit should be 0, but practically it should be as low as possible. As low as possible. Propagation delay basically defined if the propagation delay is very less, that means that operation of the particular device or IC is very fast. Okay. That again depends upon the power dissipation, that means how much voltage you are applying and how much current start to flow to the particular register. That is nothing but a power dissipation. So every circuit should start the minimum power dissipation and the speed of operation should be fast. But naturally, these two parameters, that is called the propagation delay and the power dissipations, are inversely proportional. And the product of these two parameters is nothing but the figure of merit. Okay. Hence, the figure of merit should be always constant. Ideally, the figure of merit should be 0, but practically it should be as low as possible. So this parameter plays very important role to obtain the characteristics of digital ICs. Basic concept required to design a TTL NAND gate. Okay. Up to this case, we are defined what is exactly meaning of your logical families, what is exactly meaning of TTL, what is exactly meaning of CMOS. There are two types of digital ICs, TTL and CMOS, transistor logic, and complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Now, our aim is that if you are going to look the internal structure of IC74LS08 or IC74LS00, so name of this IC is nothing but the quad 2 input NAND gate. So in a single IC, there are 4 NAND gates of 2 input. So my aim is that, or our aim is that we want to define or design a 2 input TTL NAND gate. How to design this 2 input TTL NAND gate by using the transistor. Okay, so in IC74LS00, there are 4 NAND gates are connected in a cascading way of 2 inputs. So out of these 4 inputs, our aim is that we can able to design a single 2 input NAND gate. Now, if you are going to design single NAND gate, that means I can able to design or construct the IC. If I going to connect the design of this one with respect to the cascading of remaining 3 ones. So if I going to connect the cascading, I can able to design or construct the typical IC that is called 74LS00. That is called quad 2 input NAND gate IC. So we can able to define 2 input TTL NAND gate by using the transistor. So normally BJT, that is construction of your transistor, that is called transistor logic, we can able to apply the BJT, that is called a bijunction transistor. So BJT can be able to implemented or constructed by connecting 2 PN junction diode. So if you are going to connect 2 PN junction diode back to back, I can able to construct a transistor. Basically, diode consists of 2 terminals, that is called anode and cathode, but transistor consists of 3 terminals, that is called the base, collector, and the emitter. So if you are going to connect 2 PN junction diode back to back, I can able to construct the transistor. Okay, that is called a BJT. So apart from that case, we require some another important concept of the particular BJT. So BJT consists of your 3 different configurations, that is called a common base, common emitter, and the common collector. So I require the common collector configuration of particular transistor, that is called a BJT. So apart from that case, there are different names of the common collector circuit we should know. If you know the different names of the common collector, you can easily understood the concept of 2 input TTL NAND gate by using the BJT. So what are different names of common collector? The first name of common collector is nothing but the emitter follower. Okay, what is emitter follower? Emitter follower means what? In case of emitter follower, which input is equal to output or output is equal to input. Whatever the V0 is there, same is the input voltage, that is called Vi, or Vi is equal to V0. Emitter follows the input. That's why it's called emitter follower. Okay, common collector I'm talking. V0 is equal to Vi. That is output voltage is equal to input voltage, or input voltage is equal to output voltage, or emitter follows the input. That's why it's called emitter follower. Second important name of the common collector circuit is nothing but the unity gain amplifier. As I said earlier, that means in case of common collector, input is equal to output, or output follows the inputs. So V0 is equal to Vi. Suppose I want to obtain the voltage gain, that is called V0 divided by Vi, that is called output voltage divided by input voltage. So this to produce a voltage gain is equal to 1. Hence the another name of common collector is nothing but the unity gain amplifier, where output voltage gain is equal to always 1. Buffer amplifier, one and same thing, because input follows the output or output follows the input. Output is equal to input or input is equal to output. That's why it's called voltage gain, or it is called buffer amplifier. Voltage follower, same thing. Output follows the input, input follows the outputs. Then last one is very important, that is called a high input impedance circuit. High input impedance circuit. This is called a common collector circuit, common collector configuration. In case of common collector circuit, your input impedance is very, very high and your output impedance is very, very low. So due to this property, this common collector circuit is always used for the high input impedance circuit purpose. Okay, high input impedance circuit. It is also called as a high input impedance circuit. These are the different names of common collector. So this is a part of your common collector, and this is the basic concept required for the design of 2-input TTL NAND gate using the BJT. Okay. So how to design 2-input TTL NAND gate? So basically, to design a 2-input TTL NAND gate, there are 3 different output configurations are there. So by using these 3 output configuration, we can able to design the two-input TTL NAND gate. One of them is nothing but a totem pole output configuration. Otherwise, the another name of this one is called the active pull-up configuration. Second one is called open collector output configuration. Otherwise, it is called passive pull-up configuration. So this active pull-up and passive pull-up is nothing but the simple external resistors that are connected at the output of the particular circuits. So this is called totem pole output configuration or active pull-up configuration, open collector or passive pull-up configuration. And third one is nothing but a TSL, that is called a tri-state logic. This is TSL is nothing but a tri-state logic. This tri-state logic, that means up to this case, you are knowing only there are 2 states, logic 0 and logical 1. Okay, but this tri-state logic, apart from logic 0 and logic 1, there is another third state is there, that is called high input impedance state, and that state is basically called as a tri-state. So 0, 1, and in between 0 and 1 there is a third state. That's why it is called a tri-state logic. That is always represented by the Z, that is called high input impedance state. Okay, so this is nothing but a 2-input TTL NAND gate in a totem pole output configuration. We are discussing the first part, that is called 2-input TTL NAND gate in case of your totem pole output configuration. In case of totem pole output configuration, this is a simple circuit. Okay, it consists of your total 4 transistor. This is a transistor 1, that is called Q1. This is transistor Q2. This is transistor Q3 and Q4. Okay, this is a very simple circuit to design a 2-input TTL NAND gate. So this is the construction of your 2-input TTL NAND gate. But in this case, this transistor of Q1, this transistor Q1 is called a multi-emitter transistor. The concept of a multi-emitter transistor is that in this transistor there are more than one emitter. Normally for BJT there is single base, single collector, and single emitter. That's why it's called a BJT. But in this case there is a more than one emitter. So in this case you can apply a 2 emitter. So it is called the 2-input emitter transistor. Otherwise this is called multiple emitter transistor. So this is A and B are the emitter. So in this case there are 2 parts of the particular transistor. So this is Q1, this is Q2, this is Q3 and Q4. So name of this circuit is nothing but a totem pole output configuration. As I said earlier, in case of totem, what is exactly meaning of your totem pole output configuration? In case of totem pole output configuration, transistor Q3 and Q4, these are the output parts of the particular circuit. And these 2 transistor Q3 and Q4 are connected in series at the output of the particular circuits. So as Q3 and Q4 are connected in series, such type of configurations are basically called as a totem pole output configuration. Otherwise, this is also called as active pull-up. So if you are going to look here, this R4 register is called the active pull-up register, whose value is nothing but 130 ohms. Okay, so this configuration is basically called as a output configuration or totem pole output configuration. So this is Q3 and Q4 are connected in series. Apart from that case, this is again connected one diode between this case, and you are note down your output across the, this is Q3 between Q4. So X is nothing but the output. So as I said earlier, this is nothing but a multiple emitter transistor where more than one emitter is there. And the same concept I will apply this, replace this circuit by using the two typical diodes. That means transistor can be implemented by using the two diodes, p-n junction diode connected back to back. Okay. So in this case, the same transistor is replaced by this one. So this is the emitter one, this is the emitter two. Then this is the thing but the, this is the thing but the collector. Okay. This is the thing but the collector. So this is the base. So this is the base. Okay. So I will replace this Q1 by applying this transistor Q1 and Q2. Okay. So this is diode equivalent circuit for Q1, and this is the typical diagram of two input TTL NAND gates. Okay. So that transistor Q1 is replaced by the particular two diodes which are connected back to back. So this is called E1, this is called E2, that I will represent the two inputs of the particular TTL NAND gates. And the same circuit is there. That means this is a diode circuit, this is a Q2, this is a Q3, and this is a Q4. Okay, how it will work? Normally when A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 0, A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0. Okay, so what will happen, as A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, this diode D1 and diode, this is D3, D2 and D3 will be forward bias. As diode D2 and D3 will be forward bias, that means it can be able to produce a voltage, that is cut-in voltage is nothing but the 0.7. So cut-in voltage is equal to 0.7. So 0.7, the voltage produced at Y will be 1.4 volt. This is voltage produced at this is equal to 1.7, 1.4 volt. Okay, normally you are applying this is 5 volt DC voltage. So this is some current start to flow. So this 1.4 volt is insufficient to make diode D4. Okay, because current flow into this one is insufficient to make the diode D4. So diode D4 will be in the off state. Why? Because A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, 0.7, 0.7, both are forward bias. At this case, 1.4 voltage. So diode D4 will be in the reverse bias. As this is in the off state, Q2 will be in the off state. Okay, Q2 will be in the off state. Normally, for any transistor, there is an important property is that when the transistor is in the off state, that means it can be able to produce a maximum collector voltage. It can be able to produce maximum collector voltage. So Q2 is off. So this is a collector of the Q2. Suppose I will call this is a point M. Okay. So at that case, it can be able to produce a maximum voltage. This maximum voltage I will consider is equal to 5 volt because it's off state. This 5 volt is nothing but the logical one. Logical one. Okay. But if you are going to observe here, that means this Q3 and Q4 are connected in a totem pole output configuration, which are always connected in a series mode, series condition. And this Q3 is always connected in a common collector configuration. If you are going to observe here, this Q3 is always connected in a common collector configuration. As I said earlier, different names of the common collector, input is equal to output, output is equal to input, unity gain amplifier. So at the input of this Q3, if you are going to apply very high voltage, that is in terms of logical one. So this is nothing but the output of the particular Q3. In case of common collector, you are note down the output across the emitter. So this is nothing but the output. So input is equal to output. It can be able to produce X. Hence X is equal to 1. Okay. Normally, this is the first condition. So again, this Q3 is equal to off condition. As this is off condition, again very small current, no current start to flow. So Q3 will be again in the off state. So one important thing is that when Q3 is on state because maximum collector current, and this is off condition, so Q4 will be in the off state. This is on, this is off condition when A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 0. Okay, so when A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0, this circuit will produce an output X is equal to 1. So this is the first condition of your two input NAND gate. At this condition, Q3 will be on, Q4 will be off state due to the property of the particular Q2. Okay, so this is the first condition. Second condition, when A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0. As this is 0, that will D2 will be in the forward bias. This is 1, so this will be in the reverse bias. This will be reverse bias. So this is forward bias to 0.7 voltage. Again, the same concept. The current flowing to the particular this point will be again less. So 0.7 voltage will be insufficient to make the D4 in the on state. So again, D4 will be in the off state. Okay, that is reverse bias. As this is reverse bias, Q2 will be again in the off state. As Q2 is in the off state, maximum collector voltage will be produced across this point. This Q3 is connected in the particular common collector configuration, so it can be able to produce input is equal to output. So X is equal to again 1. Again this Q2 is in the off state, no current start to flow across the Q4. So again this Q4 will be in the off state. Again Q3 is on, Q4 is off. So according to that, it can be able to produce output 1. This is case number 2. This is 0, this is 1, so output will become 1. Now third condition, when A is equal to 1, B is equal to 0, in the opposite condition, that means this is reverse bias, this is forward bias, and this is forward bias, 0.7 voltage 1. Again, no one current start to flow, this diode D4, so diode D4 will be the reverse bias, so that Q2 will be in the reverse bias. This is off state means maximum collector voltage means, so again, X is equal to 1, so Q3 become on state, Q4 becomes off state. In this case, there is no doubt. Now apply the last condition. That is a very important condition. That means when A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 1, that means this is 5 volt, this is 5 volt. A is equal to 1, last condition, B is equal to 1. And this is 1, this is 1. That means this becomes reverse bias, this becomes reverse bias. So no current start to flow across this one. Now you are applying 5 volt voltage across this one, and due to that case, whatever the current start to flow across this one, all the current start to flow across the diode D4. No current start to flow across this one. In the all the three conditions, some current start to flow across this one. But in this case, this is 1, this is 1, the D3, D2 and D3 will be the reverse bias. So no current start to flow. So whatever the currents applying with respect to VCC, that directly goes to the D4 diode. So maximum current start to flow across the D4, hence diode D4 will be in the on state. As diode D4 in the on statement, this is a forward bias. As diode D4 is forward bias, that means it applies some current at the input of your Q2. So Q2 becomes in the on state. As Q2 is in the on state, that means minimum collector voltage will be produced across the Q3. So this is the input. So this is the output will be 0. Collector voltage will be 0. As this Q3 is connected across the particular common collector, so 0 is equal to 0. Okay, so this is 0. That's why this Q3 becomes off state. Now as this Q2 will become on state, maximum current start to flow across the Q4. So Q4 becomes on, so that it can be able to produce output X is equal to, this is 1, this is 1, so this becomes 0. So in the last condition, when A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, Q3 becomes off condition, Q4 becomes on condition. While remaining all the three conditions, Q3 will be on and Q4 will be off state. Okay, so this is the operation of the particular circuits according to two input TTL NAND gate. So this TTL output acts as a current sink in the low state because it receives the current from the input to the gate that is driving. So these are the operation of the particular four condition that I already explained. Okay. So Q4 is often called as a current sinking transistor or pull-up transistor because it brings the output voltage down to the low state. Okay. This is the next condition. We already defined 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. This is the operation of the particular circuits. In this case, Q3 is often called a current sourcing or pull-up transistor. What are the advantages of the totem pole output configurations? So basically, in case of totem pole output configuration, it is able to reduce the power dissipation. Why it is called able to reduce the power dissipation? The reason is that if you're going to look here, this is Q3 and Q4 are connected in a parallel, in a series. Okay, so this R4 is nothing but the active pull-up resistor, and this is directly connected to VCC. Okay, so in this case, whatever the current start to flow across the Q3, when Q3 is on, Q4 is off. When Q3 is off condition, Q4 is on condition. So due to that case, it can be able to produce some current, minimum current when this is Q3 is on, and this diode D1 is nothing but a current limiting diode. So according to that, it can be reduce the particular current. As the current reduces down, so power dissipation is also low. It is used for impedance matching. As I said earlier, different names of common collector. So one of the name is the it can be very high input impedance and a very low output impedance. Due to this property, it is always used for the impedance matching purpose. This is the biggest advantage of the particular totem pole output configuration. Then what is the major drawbacks or disadvantage of totem pole output configuration? So in this case, as I said earlier, Q3 and Q4 are connected in series. And when Q3 is in the on state, Q4 in the off state. First three conditions, Q3 is on, Q4 is off. And last condition, when A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, Q3 is off and Q4 is on condition. Okay. So due to this property, normally if you are going to apply 5-volt voltage and with respect to circuit, so for a very few nanoseconds, this Q3 and Q4 will be in the on state. Okay, so this Q3 and Q4 for a very few nanoseconds, both the transistor will be on. As both the transistor is on, large collector current flowing to the particular R4. As large current flowing to R4, and if this current going on excessing, so within a fraction of second, this Q3 and Q4 will be goes heated down and will be damaged due to the excessive current. So this condition is basically called the cross conduction of Q3 and Q4, meaning that Q3 and Q4 both will be in the on state for a very few nanoseconds. Okay, this condition is basically called as a cross conduction of the particular Q3 and Q4. This is the major limitations of the particular totem pole output configuration. What is the function of D1 or function of D? That is, D is connected between the output of Q3 and Q4. So this is the thing used only for the current limiting resistor that is connected to note down the proper voltage at the output of the particular circuit. Then second circuit come to the picture, that is nothing but an open collector or passive pull-up. So whatever the major limitations of the particular totem pole output configuration, that can be able to minimize by using open collector or passive pull-up. This is another part of your totem pole output configuration. Only difference is that in this case you are not connecting the particular Q3 transistor, because cross conduction was happening only due to the Q3 and Q4 will be remains on condition for a few nanoseconds. So in this case, this Q3 is remaining are removed from the circuit. The remaining operation of the particular circuit is exactly same. And in that case, you are going to connect one resistor. That resistor is called as the external pull-up resistor or the passive pull-up resistor. This is nothing but the R3. Remaining operation of the particular circuit is exactly same. Nothing is changed. Okay. Same thing. That means 0, 0. That means this is forward bias, this is forward bias. Whatever the current flowing to this one, this is diode. D3 will be in the off state, Q3 will be in the off state. So this is off means minimum current will be flow. And again, this Q3 is connected across this one. So this is off state. So maximum collector voltage will be produced at the output of this one. So when this is 0, 0, so output will be 1. When this is 0, 1, so again it will be 1. Then this is 1, 0, again it is 1. And 1, 1, when both the inputs are 1, 1, at that case, this will be reverse bias. So what large collector flowing to this diode D3. The diode D3 will be in the on state, and this is diode D3 is on, Q2 is on state, Q2 is on state with maximum collector current. So diode D, this will be in the off on state, and this is on state means what? Collector current will be 0. Same thing, only this is Q3 will be remaining removed from the particular previous circuit. Same circuit is there. Such type of circuit is basically called as an open collector or passive pull-up resistor. Main significance or use of this circuit is that in this case, the cross conduction which is obtained in case of your totem pole output configuration is minimized simply by reducing the transistor Q3. That's why it's called open collector. Why is called open collector? Because the transistor Q4 are in the open state. Collector of the particular transistor 4, Q4 is open. As per the concept of transistor, when transistor is in the off state maximum collector voltage, when transistor in the on state, minimum collector voltage. That's why it's called open collector or active pull-up resistor, pull-up configuration. Schottky transistor. Normally, whatever the discussion we are performing right now, we are talking about a standard TTL. In case of standard TTL means what? 7400. Okay, in case of 7400, you are going to use as a BJT for the construction of typical IC. Now this is called a Schottky transistor. So in case of suppose standard 7400, what is the major limitation? That is called a power dissipation is very high. So our aim is that I want to reduce the power dissipation. For that case, there are n number of circuits. Otherwise, I will call devices are there. Out of that, one of the circuit is nothing but the device is nothing but the Schottky transistor. Okay, Basically, this is nothing but a Schottky transistor or Schottky diode. So this is called Schottky diode. Again, this is called anode, this is called cathode. The operation of this Schottky diode is exactly identical with respect to the PN junction diode. Okay, so this Schottky diode is anode, this is called the cathode. And apart from that case, the basic difference between the PN junction diode and the Schottky diode is, in case of normal PN junction diode, the cut-in voltage is called 0.7 voltage, while in case of Schottky diode, the cut-in voltage is called 0.2. So as the cut-in voltage is very less, the speed of operation of the particular circuit is basically increase. Okay, so this is by connecting this Schottky diode between the base and the collector, we can able to construct the particular circuit that is called a Schottky transistor. So these Schottky transistors are exactly identical with respect to the normal BJT. Again, this base collector emitter are same, where cut-in voltage of the particular this Schottky transistor is nothing but a 0.2, while the normal BJT is nothing but a 0.7. So such type of circuit transistor is used for the 74LS series or 74ALS series. That is called low power Schottky or advanced low power Schottky. So whenever we are going to use 74LS, LS stands for low power Schottky or Schottky. So in that case, such type of transistor is used for the construction of typical IC. Okay, we will stop here. In the next lecture, we will discuss the